Welcome back. My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law. Windshield time. Today's episode is going to be a medical marijuana update. I'm sorry I haven't had the opportunity to do this in the studio, so I'm doing this while I'm driving an hour to court. But it's important and needs to be done. First, it is my understanding that tomorrow is the last day for the open submission of comments and suggestions for rule changes. Make sure you go to the Department of Health and Senior Services website, look at the draft rules, and make comments on any suggested changes you feel that you should be making. That is exceedingly important, and you are almost out of time. The department will have to issue a draft rule for June 4th. That is their deadline. They have to have draft rule, or they have to have emergency rules in place by that date because they have to release the applications. It's a deadline that Department of Health and Senior Services has stated they intend to make, and they will not miss. So there will be emergency rules in place on that day, and we're going to have to live with it if you don't like it. Now, coming up, just a few things to mention with that. The department has updated draft rules. There were draft rule updates yesterday on definitions, medical marijuana facilities generally, as well as recent updates to the facility license application questions and the evaluation scoring criteria. Those are important things to look at if you're planning on opening a facility. Additionally, if you're planning on opening a facility and you have not contracted with a professional to assist you with your license, you need to do that now. You are running out of time. That is exceedingly important. If you don't get started on your background checks, you don't get started on everything you need to do, you're gonna have trouble. Now, Missouri doesn't have their 4-digit PIN, but you're gonna need certificates of good standing from other states that you have participated in legal marijuana business in. You're gonna need to prepare and get ready for background checks from those states. You need to sit down and run through the checklist of what you need to do and have for your application with your professional. So the time is now. You've got to make that happen if you're going to do it. If you're not going to do it, or you don't think you're going to be able to meet license requirements, don't spend the additional money. Don't throw good money after bad. Most of the people that have pre-filed fees are going to lose. And I'm not saying that as a negative on an individual person, but we've got double the amount of license application fees as we have licenses. So most of the people that apply are going to lose out. That said, let's talk about some good news on the marijuana front. One of the biggest problems that we've had with medical marijuana and marijuana nationally is access to the banking system. Medical marijuana companies and marijuana companies in general are largely shut out of national banks. However, in Missouri, the Triad Bank in Frontenac, Missouri, and I just totally mispronounced that city. I'm very sorry. Someone is going to correct me. But the Triad Bank has announced that they are offering services to cannabis businesses. They have criteria on that. You have to have a record of successful business ownership and management that predates your seeking of entering the marijuana field. Okay. They will offer deposit services for a select group. They believe that federal reform is coming, and they're positioning their bank for it. So that's a good thing. If you happen to live in the St. Louis area, you're interested in marijuana regulation, marijuana law, and you are in need of a bank, this might be a bank to consider for your deposits. They appear to have an understanding of what's coming up. Now, the bank CEO, Jim Regina, spoke with Marijuana Business Daily about their plans to enter this and offering deposit services. Processors, cultivators, dispensaries, these are all going to be eligible businesses for marijuana services through marijuana banking services through Triad Bank. So that's great. The opening for submission of applications for patients, qualified patients, caregivers, is opening up in July. Now, understand that when you apply for this in July, there will not be any medical marijuana available to you. Now, there may be some states that will allow you to use your Missouri license in their state, but you cannot transport that weed into Missouri. Okay, when you leave that state, you're crossing state lines, you're breaking federal law, you'll also be breaking Missouri law if you bring it in. You cannot do that. So understand that you may get your medical marijuana card, but there isn't going to be any medical marijuana for a while. I think you're looking at late spring, early summer at best, and more reasonably mid to late summer next year before we have medical marijuana for sale. That is a very real concern and time period. Frankly, given the tenor of some of the bills that have come out of the Missouri legislature and some of the comments from our legislators, perhaps we need to look at a constitutional amendment very similar to Amendment 2, just legalizing marijuana across the board. That would probably be the best way to go, because the legislature still doesn't get it. It's time. It's time to get out of the way. It's time to let the marijuana industry in and operate. It's time to get out of the way of, commercial industrial hemp and allow it to grow and operate. Missouri is about the perfect state for both hemp or marijuana crops. Literally, it grows like a weed. Those are issues that our state has to face. And frankly, if the elected legislature will not, perhaps the citizens need to take control and do it. Which brings me to another point that has been raised, and we're going to start seeing this in the criminal courts now. We have legalized hemp to several degrees. It is readily available. You can purchase it. You can buy hemp in stores in Kansas City right now. Here's the problem. And it's nothing against hemp, believe me. It's going to take an expert to be able to tell the difference between marijuana and hemp. And our law enforcement is not trained for that. If you are stopped by a police officer and you have a bag of hemp, you need to make sure that you have whatever labels or receipts readily available with that hemp to show that it is hemp, and expect that you're probably going to be arrested anyway, because the cops can't tell the difference. Hell, some of them can't tell the difference between oregano and marijuana. You're going to jail with hemp. Now, that's a very, very winnable case, but the police can't tell the difference. And we don't know what the lab reports are going to look like when they come back with hemp. One of the issues that I've had is they come back saying they detected THC, or they may even have a level of THC. And prosecutors don't understand that THC is not illegal under Missouri law. Marijuana is not defined by THC. So, that creates an issue. The parts of the plant of marijuana that are declared illegal, and you can look up the statute yourself. You don't need a freaking lawyer for this. It's chapter 195, definitions. Marijuana is paragraph 28. Marijuana oil is specifically excluded from the definition of marijuana. Seeds are only marijuana if they're capable of germination. Now, resin, extracting the resin from the marijuana plant, that is marijuana. Okay? So you need to look through and take a look at that. But oil from seeds, cake, that's not marijuana per the statute. So the question then becomes, what about all these vapes and the marijuana oil? I've seen people who pleaded guilty to this crap. I wasn't representing them, but they plead guilty because it's easier than actually doing their homework and fighting. You got to know what you're faced with. Now, understand, that's marijuana. CBD oil actually is illegal if it's over 0.3% THC. There's a difference there. It's a rather stupid difference, but when we passed a law allowing CBD in 2014, that was in it. What that means is, while you can beat a case on marijuana, if your hemp has more than 0.3% THC, you're going to jail. I know, it's stupid, isn't it? So we need some clarity in our laws. Law enforcement is not properly equipped for the tsunami coming with marijuana and marijuana issues. They're just not. It would be nice if they were, but law enforcement in this area is about 2 steps behind. What that means is there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be arrested until we have court precedent saying you can't do this, officer. So I'd expect that the next 2 years are going to be a little bit rocky. Don't run around with a baggie of hemp that is not labeled if you don't want to be questioned. Police are going to question that if they see it, if they come across it. If you leave a kilo of hemp on the table on the coffee table in your dining room, or living room, I don't know why you put it in your dining room. That doesn't make any sense. But if you leave a kilo of hemp on the table and a police officer knocks on the door, you invite him in, then you are looking at a very serious problem. They are going to want to know what is in that kilo. And they are going to want to have a chat with you, because that officer is going to believe that that is marijuana. You are likely going to be arrested. It'll be sent out to the lab. Hopefully you'll be released on bond. But that's a conversation that's going to happen around the state several times. So be ready for that. June 3rd is rapidly approaching. June 4th is rapidly approaching. You absolutely have to be ready if you're going into the medical marijuana industry. Okay, if you are opening a cultivation facility, a dispensary facility, testing facility, infused products manufacturing, if you're going to be opening a transportation company that deals in transportation of marijuana, you 100% need to be getting ready now. Time is running out. We do know that the window of opening for applications is only going to be about a month. Okay? So you've got to get in and get that ready. They're going to be pushing these first applications through. And remember, if you have a shortcoming or a failure in your application, they will notify you. You will only have 7 days to fix it. That is a seriously short time. All right, that is both your medical marijuana update and Pat Talks Law Windshield time. Thank you for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you know what else we got going on. I'll be talking to you later. Thank you.